Hey guys, this is Kevin. Some of you know me as POR_soccer on Twitter. I just wanted to congratulate all of the guys at Benfica Podcast and all the Benfica fans around the world for their clinching the title of the Tatra. So congratulations to everybody and enjoy. It's very tough to do. So, good season. It was tough, hard fought. So, enjoy it and good luck next season.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the penultimate podcast of the season. Alfredo here with Cristiano Oliveira next to me. Cristiano, what's happening, buddy?
What's happening? What's going on, people?
And Steve Santos is in Toronto. Steve Santos.
Everybody. Hello.
Where what you just heard was a message from our good friend Portista Kevin, and I told him that I would allow him to record a message to congratulate him, and we're thankful for his support and for his gracious words. Hey, expect an email from Pinto Costa, man. This is not right.
Think about it. When you consider Nuno just got fired because of Leos Parabéns ao Benfica without publicly criticizing him, Nelson's definitely, what's his name? Kevin's definitely going to get a letter of resignation. Like, mutual agreement. Like everyone's mutually agreeing to part with Porto. You're going to get one of those, buddy.
That's right. On today's podcast, we will look back at Benfica's start of the preseason at the Bessa. We'll also look ahead to the Taça de Portugal, the official last game of the Portuguese football season. And we'll have some things that we will discuss, such as some key stories for the season. And we'll also look ahead to new technologies, the video assistant referee that's coming up next season, and I want to see what the excuses are going to be then. Anyway, as I mentioned, Alfredo, Cristiano, and Steve here with you every Tuesday night, bringing you the latest on Benfica. This is Benfica Podcast, episode number 244. So we're right on the brink of 245. 245 should close out the season. So we apologize if everybody's expecting us to talk about the national team during the Confederations Cup. We will not be doing that. We may or may not have a special appearance on another podcast or another Benfica-themed show, but we can't neither confirm nor deny. That's right. Right, Cristiano? Not even
Cristiano looks confused.
It's so secret, not even Cristiano knows.
Know what you guys are talking about.
What was I volunteered for?
I know, like, exactly. What are we talking about?
That's right. Let's go to Benfica's game at the Bessa. Júlio César, Eliseu, Lisandro Lopes, Calaissa, Pedro Pereira, Felipe Augusto, André Samaris were in the midfield. Herpes, André Horta, Zivkovic, and Constantino Mitroglou were the front line, basically. Steve, I know that you and I briefly spoke about the game, and as you mentioned, this is just like a preseason game with limited subs.
That's the only real difference. You can't take too much away from it, other than some things you already know. Lisandro is a basket case when it comes to his positioning. André Horta I think he's over-eager to impress, but he didn't seem to have too bad of a game from what I was able to catch. But it's not a game that you can take a lot from, other than, those special moments where see Paul Lopes wearing the captain's armband and stuff like that. That's always nice.
Yeah, I thought that a couple guys had decent games. I thought Felipe Augusto was decent for the 45 minutes that I could bear to watch. I actually watched that game today, and I love Benfica, but with the title wrapped up and as emotionally charged as the season has been, and already knowing the result and really a game that really mattered for not much. I just wanted to see what the atmosphere was going to be like at the Bessa, and also some of the new guys playing. Not overly impressed by anyone in particular, but it's good to see that Benfica had the luxury of being able to make certain guys champions, guys that haven't played a single minute. Of course, Paulo Lopes is at the center of that group. And God knows he deserves this. We all know that he deserves it. He's been a loyal servant to the club. He's been a symbol of the celebrations. And I guess if you take away that Vespa celebration, the biggest image of all four celebrations has been Paulo Lopes on top of the goal, if you will. That is a trademark image for Paulo Lopes and for Benfica celebration. So anyway, Not much to say about this game. I don't know, Cristiano, did you get a chance to watch the resume?
You might not have much to say, but I do.
All right, vai.
Hermes, pack your bags and go back to Brazil.
Que é isso, cara? O cara tá jogando fora de
I
posição.
don't care. Go back to what you gotta do. Go back to wherever the hell you came from.
We came from Bruno Cesar's club.
Grêmio. Felipe Augusto, I like you. I like your touch, but I'm not sure if you're a guy that Benfica could count on week in, week out. Nice, suitable backup. I don't think he's ever going to be anything else at Benfica. Lisandro, he gets the knock. Everybody likes to knock the guy. Unfortunately, he's another one of those guys that you need to be on him. Like a dog. You got to treat him like a dog with the leash. Let him go so far and pull him back. He's a guy that I think with the proper, and I'm not saying that they're not doing this, okay? I'm not knocking anyone, but with the proper coaching, I think he would actually be a very good center back. I just think that they have so many other players at that position, they let him get away with whatever he wants to. And Paul Lopes, it's a beautiful thing. It's nice to see that the club is rewarding someone who's been there for this long, and a guy that really, I don't want to say hasn't complained about being a backup, because he did complain a couple seasons ago when he didn't play. So it's kind of,
it was a tough one, man.
That he still complained. I mean, so I can't say he doesn't complain, because he did complain.
I think at the end of the day, he accepted that circumstances didn't really turn out well.
I don't think he had another choice.
He didn't
have another choice, but to accept it. So I mean, it's nice to see. It's nice to see that Benfica, at the end of the day, will always recognize those who put in the effort. And that's what sets this club apart, I think. I think I said it last week, man, that this club has brought back the pride and the joy in a lot of us. And when we see some of these moments, and Paul Lopes is a perfect example, because there's no reason for him to play besides with the exception of him getting his name on the record books, right? Benfica doesn't owe him anything. No. I mean, they're paying him his contract. Rui Vitória is coaching, and Rui Vitória, at the end of the day, his job is to win games and going out with the victory. In Porto on top of it. I know it's Bessa and I know it's Boa Vista, but it's in Porto on top of it, with the opportunity to sting it to some of their closest fans over there. And then on top of it, I'm not sure if this ever got to the bench or not, but what happened this weekend at the Bessa with the Benfica fans not being allowed to enter the stadium with their Benfica apparel and throwing it in the garbage. I thought that was classless, and I was hoping that got down to the dugout, that got to the locker room. And Benfica want to go out there and humiliate these guys. Apparently, it either didn't get down there, or they just decided that, you know what, it is what it is. We can't do anything about it. But I wish that Benfica would have, even the club would have come out and represented those fans a little bit better, because to me, that's unprofessional. This is not a third world country. You sold the tickets, and I know this has nothing to do with the game itself, but it was the game day and we're talking about it. I thought that was classless by Boa Vista, and it's a club that I've always kind of rooted for, because I thought they got the short end of the stick when it came down with the Pito Dorado and all that, and they got demoted. You know what? After what I saw this week, and I hope they get demoted to the fifth division.
It was definitely classless. Their explanation for it was the Bancada dos Sócios, or Bancada Central, if you will, and I think one of the end bancadas, they told people right away, do not come in Benfica gear to sit in a Sócios bancada or grandstands. So that was the Boa Vista's explanation. But I'm with Cristiano. I mean, you got an opportunity to sell out your stadium. Open up your stadium.
They did sell it out. No, they sold it out, and that's the worst part. They sold it out. They collected the money.
The front stands. There weren't as many people there.
They sold it. They sold every ticket to that game. People just weren't allowed to get in. People were like, throw away my stuff or walk away. People were pissed off. People were upset. People did not go to the game. I mean, you're telling me Benfica's not going to sell out a 20-some thousand stadium in Porto? It's a big city. Come on, all Norte inteiro would be there. I mean, I thought it was classless. I thought Boa Vista had an opportunity here to show that, you know what, this is a club that I've heard this throughout Portuguese TV and stuff. Both of these clubs have always had good relations. Yes. It's not like they've had terrible relations and they're going, they had an opportunity to make it right. The title was won already. You could have beaten Benfica 100-0. Benfica could have beaten 100, and it didn't matter. You know what? You took their money. Let them in. They said that they put out a comunicado on Abril 25 that, don't come with your apparel. The title was still up for grabs at the time. You had no idea what was going on. Now, this had no influence on the outcome. And I thought that they dropped the ball. I thought it was another a terrible PR move by another Portuguese club who, listen, I love Benfica, and I'll forever say this. I've had the privilege of working with the biggest teams in the world, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Brazil, you name it, and these guys will vouch. They'll tell you I've worked with them. And they're PR guys. They're guys around here who's tremendous guys. Every time I've been around Portuguese teams, they're nothing but rude. The Portuguese national team and the Benfica Sporting, all arrogant. I don't understand. You're minuscule when it comes to the big boys. But yeah, you want to act like you're the biggest shark in the pond. You have no respect. And again, it trickles down to the smaller clubs. There is no class. There is no PR in Portugal. I love Portugal. I was born there. I'll forever be. I love it. I'm an American citizen now. For those of you, Timo and Mo that might want to report me to Trump.
ICE.
To ICE. I'm an American citizen now. Forever be Portuguese. I was born there, and I love going back. You guys know I go back there every chance I get. But there is no customer service, no PR, nothing over there. Yeah. It's terrible. And they dropped the ball once again.
Yeah, it was horrible. And here's the thing, too. We don't know how much of that was influenced by Porto, right? We don't know if in the background there was somebody saying, you guys got to put this out. Obviously, as Cristiano mentioned, the April 25th, the comunicado went out, the memo went out, and at that time, things were still very much up in the air. Porto probably did think that things were going to go all the way to the end. So maybe that was a little pressure by Porto to make that happen.
I don't know. Even April 24th with this BS comunicado, right, that came out. How many Benfiquistas paid attention to what Boa Vista puts out?
Well, there was there was a little buzz.
Well, no. To what Boa Vista put out, it's the first I heard about it was this weekend. Me personally.
No, I'd heard about it.
Okay, you did. I didn't. Now, what I think they should have done is add a paper, with a nice paragraph. Oh, you want to buy? Don't even ask what fan you are. Look, you're buying tickets. Aquí. Let people know. Don't shock them. Don't let people come with kids and you have kids going into the stadium with no shirts because they're throwing their apparel on the garbage can.
Yeah,
come on, man, that's classless.
Yeah, that was awful. But that falls right in line between the climate of differences between the north and the south of Portugal. There's always been tension.
Now, there's another club that's in our same town that's not as classy, and that's not as classy. That has nothing to do with the north or south.
No, but there's always been some tension between the north and the south, so on and so forth. Politics, that's all it is.
It's like Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that some fans didn't get to watch the game. It's unfortunate that some guys lost their $5 scarves. I did see a picture of a garbage bin with some scarves inside at one of the doors or whatever, but it's unfortunate.
$5 to people get paid $320 a month is a lot.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Plus the game ticket that it was either throw away my $5 shirt or my $15 ticket. At the end of the day, shirt is a shirt because it's pota fria mañana. I might need this shirt.
That's right.
I'm not gonna need this ticket.
That's right. Steve, you wanted to add something?
I don't understand how it's good enough to take the money, but you dictate what somebody's gonna wear to an event. I just think it's ridiculous, regardless if it's a sauce you seat or not. If you could take their money, then they can go there and wear whatever the bleep they want, really, is what it comes down to. And that there should be no story past that. They should never have been able to put out a comunicado saying, oh, you can't wear this. What world do they live in? It's ridiculous. But
she's not Venezuela.
Yeah,
you guys already touched all the points. It's just that. The whole thing makes no sense.
But that falls right in line with that club that doesn't allow their players to wear red shoes or drive red cars.
Ridiculous.
Or win titles, right? Because they're not doing that neither. So maybe it's comunicado.
Yeah, that's right. So 2-2, Benfica comes back, and there was some guys were on Twitter. They were all over Twitter saying that we over celebrated. The title is won. We've already done all of our celebration the week prior. I think that the fact that some of the veterans saw Kalaika after being 2-0 down, to Kalaika to score the equalizer, a young, promising center back, and to have the team claw back in the game and salvage the 1 point that really didn't mean anything. Did they get carried away and maybe celebrate a little too much? Yeah, but I mean, I
don't think they did at all. I mean, they're in the celebratory mood, okay?
Yeah.
Babe Festa, regardless, win or lose Babe Festa. And now you have a kid who's making his debut at 18 or 19, whatever it is, and he scores a big goal. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't give a crap if you're up 20 points or behind 20 points. You want to win games. That's what you do. You want to win. And that's a show of team camaraderie. That's a show that the guys love being around one another. It's just a show of affection for a kid making his debut and scoring a big goal in his debut.
Yeah, I think the whole team is touched and sensibilized by what has gone on in the country, by the demonstrations of support, by the demonstrations of happiness that the team got the tetra. If you guys saw some of the video, the team leaving the luge again, a demonstration of support. The team arriving at in the hotel in Gaia, another demonstration of support. And I don't recall seeing one at the team arriving at the stadium, but I'm sure people were there. People from up north that don't have a chance to drive down to Lisboa or take the train to Lisboa every weekend or every other weekend. They were happy that they got to celebrate the team, that they got to see the team and celebrate with them. So obviously the team is probably feeling that happiness, feeling that support. So there's nothing wrong with celebrating the way they did, to me at least. So anyway, season wrapped up. Let's get, I know that we only got one more podcast and we got lots to talk about. So one of the topics that I wanted to bring up and we could all share our moments and I think 3 storylines for each one of you for this particular season. And which one of you wants to go first?
Chris, because I misunderstood the question. I just asked
my
you.
storyline, 3 storylines for the season. You got to come up with 3 points that marked your season. For me, number 1, obviously, the opportunity to win a tetra. Okay, to me, that's the number 1. Damu 36. This is something that was had been attempted 5 previous times and never happened, and this was the 6th, and they finally came through. So to me, that was the main objective, was the main story of the season, winning the tetra. Another one for me is just to see these young players develop, to see if the Nelson Smithers, the Lindelofs, these guys and the Grimaldo's coming back, and if they were ready for the next step. I know, some people question whether they were ready, and I know I did. I mean, first time Smith got called up to the national team, I thought it was a little bit too early, but there's a lot of question marks whether this team could do it all over again. And to me, and the third one is, I mean, there's so many you could go with, but it's Rui Vitoria. I mean, this is a guy that's come in under all types of pressures. We've all questioned him here on the pod, and I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other people around the world that have questioned him, and all the guy's done is win. And I mean, look, we might not be fans of his style of soccer, but as long as he keeps putting up the W's and bringing in the trophies, I mean, to me, that's a tremendous storyline. The guy's been there 2 years, 2 campeonatos, and now going for the whatever it's called.
Penta.
No. Now the double, the taça, whatever it's called, dobradinha.
Yeah. Steve, you want to go or you want me to go?
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, but definitely. I think one of the stories for me is the depth of the squad and all the guys that we thought would be starters, just straight out starters, that spent a lot of time in the infirmary. Grimaldo, Jonas, even Rafa was hurt, even though Rafa wasn't really a key player, if you will. But Jonas, who had been...
Fernando Santos left him out of the preliminary 30 for the Confederations Cup. So that should tell you.
Jonas, who is undoubtedly our most important player last season, spent a lot of time in the infirmary. And I think that the team's depth, and we had talked about the team's depth in the beginning of the season. I thought that was a great story. For me, also, the way that Rui Vitoria managed the team throughout these injuries, throughout having key players injury, putting guys in, and guys being able to respond. We didn't outplay a lot of teams out of the pitch, but we got the job done in the end. And then, I share the same one with Cristiano about the Tetra. That's the biggest storyline because last year, there was a lot of people that could have argued, well, this is still some of JJ's work, so you kind of picking up on that momentum and you carrying that momentum to get a title. This year, no JJ. It was all the team and Rui Vitoria. So that's something that in the structure, if you will, if you want to add on.
And just to mention, last year, even though it was his first title, it was still Benfica's first 3 in 30-something years.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
40. Was it?
It's 38 or whatever it was.
Okay.
Whatever, something like that, 30-something years. So he not only had the pressure of replacing JJ, okay, a figure that's loved or you hate, but at the end of the day, you still can't take away what he accomplished.
Change the identity of the team.
Absolutely. Then he wins the 3. All right, which, I mean, the club hasn't done it forever. Now he wins. After much criticism, a lot of people saying that was JJ's team. Sporting had a tremendous season. They're not going to be able to carry on with them. Benfica sold a couple key players. And then he wins the Tetra, which has never been done.
Yeah.
I mean,
Steve, your turn.
Huge for me was, like you guys say, the tetra. It's like never been done before. Something weighing over the players' heads. Probably the most pressure that they had was to try to win that thing that's never been done before at the club. So that's huge. Something I may have criticized them throughout the year for having unconvincing performances and sometimes looking not motivated or not being able to step it up and show another gear. But when you look down at the numbers and look at it, and I'm getting ahead of myself because I know we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but they were the most consistent team in every field. Wins or best defense, best attack, completely consistent throughout the year. While all the other two were flapping their gums about poor refereeing decisions, trying to place blame here and there and everywhere, where we were all just doing our business on the pitch. Whether or not it was convincing is a different story, but the results were there. Another couple storylines that aren't as positive. The Salvio thing really got to me. It was frustrating to see him play week in, week out with guys on the bench and our crazy depth at that position. I found that very frustrating. And then Rafa, I don't want to call it a disappointment, but I was hoping to see a lot more from him, and I don't think we haven't seen even a quarter of what this player can do, and I hope that he can change that in the future. On a positive note, my boy Pizzi, player of the season.
wait, so hold on. So you got 3 negatives and 3 positives?
No, I got a fourth one. I got a fourth one.
Not mais.
But
Got a fourth.
man.
It was only 3, dude.
No. He wants to mention his boy Pizzi because I was gonna get on him. I was gonna tell him.
The Pizzi one was the fourth one.
I was gonna tell
Steve,
him.
you don't get extra credit, bro.
He's lucky that he rebounded with that. I'm gonna let him make his point because he deserves it. But I was just gonna get on his case that in a season that we won the Tetra with so much to be happy about, all he mentions negative stuff. I mean, like only you, Steve, only you.
No,
so
he's
have your
balancing
minute
it
on
out.
Pizzi. I have your minute on Pizzi.
He's balancing it out.
No, Pizzi was phenomenal. I mean, Pizzi, as we go, Pizzi goes, or as Pizzi goes, we go, and he dictates the pace of the game. He was just phenomenal the whole season. I would like to say that he's the player of the season for me, but it's probably a podcast too early for that.
Yeah, we will be handing out our MVP, best defender, best midfielder,
Chicken fingers award.
most improved, disappointment of the season next week. So don't forget to catch that. Also, if you want to interact with us, hashtag Benfica Podcast, and we'll promise to get to all the questions, even Mo's 57 questions. We'll get to them.
Poor Mo. Love you, Mo.
So I guess, Steve, let's segue into that. I mean, for everyone, and look, we were, I have to admit, we were at times we questioned the way this team played, the way this team was coached, the performances of this team. But at the end, as you mentioned, Steve, most wins, both home and away, best attack, most goals scored, best defense, least amount of goals allowed, and just basically just, I don't want to say dominated, but yeah. I mean, a team like that.
Moreirense snatched the Liga de Cerveja, the Taça de Cerveja from us, gave us that at the end of the year with the shellac in Porto.
Yeah.
So they repaid us, I guess, to make us look good. So like that, there's no argument about who the best team was all season long.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I don't think Porto had an argument. I mean, they were close, but in the last 9 games, they tied 5 or something like that.
Yeah, mas é tudo culpa do Benfica e dos árbitros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
E o Sporting também.
E os falhanços à frente da baliza, nada a ver com isso.
And that's why I commend us for getting the job done on the pitch and never falling into their traps.
Yeah.
At least very rarely. I don't think there was too many times that we came out and
Exactly.
And Rui Vitória and Luis Felipe Vieira both need to take a ton of credit for that because they had to be in the players' ears. Because let's not forget, these guys are humans at the end of the day, and they got friends and family read it. But they might not read it, but their family and their friends do read it. And Felipe Vieira and Rui Vitoria, they had to be crucial in just telling the players, forget about the noise on the outside and focus on what's ahead of you.
Yeah, and I think in a title where we got the Tetra, or in the year that they got the Tetra, to be able to check all those boxes, best attack, best defense, most wins away from home, most wins at home, best record home and away. I mean, that says a lot about this title. And look, if you're a Sporting fan and if you're a Porto fan, especially Sporting, right, that you complain about all this, the referees, just put your eyes on the last game that they play at Alvalade and read all the tarjas, all the signs that Juveleo made directed at the team, and none of them state on there that Culpa era do Benfica.
I don't really care about Sporting, but look, just to go with you, look, Benfica were the most consistent team, but let's not forget, guys. Let's not sit and sugarcoat it as well. I don't want to be negative because we did win.
Could have been better.
No, it could have been better. There was a stretch. There was a stretch where all of us were worried. Benfica was pulling off 1-0 victories. They struggled against it. Wasn't all we dominated. You know what I'm saying? So let's pull our horses back a little bit. Let's praise them. They were the best team, 1 through 34. But there was a rough patch in there as well. I mean, I don't want to say we're the dominant club. I mean, Porto went through a stretch where they tied like 3 games in a row, and then they went through like 8 or 9 games where they're winning 4-5-0. You could call that dominant. They dominated for a short period, but Benfica were just more consistent throughout the season.
Absolutely. And usually slow and steady wins the race. Right? So consistency.
Don't tell Usain Bolt that.
Excuse me. Consistency does usually get you that title. And I think that if there was a team that was consistent, more consistent than all the other 2 teams, was Benfica. So I think for me, it's done. And Barry, don't come to me with issues about refereeing and this and that and off and so on and so forth. It is what it is. We want it fair, and we're tetracampeões. Now, turning our attention a little bit to to next season, and something that's going to be brand new in a league, in a domestic league, which is the VAR, or video assistant refereeing. So for those of you guys that haven't been reading the Bola or reading papers or have been hiding under a rock, the FPF and the Liga have announced that next year there will be video assistant referees in every match, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So let me just break this down for everybody, for people that think that they're going to be reviewing everything. And I know that some of you already know what's going on. So this video replay is going to be used in match-changing decisions, which include incidents such as goals, penalty decisions, direct red cards, and cases of mistaken identity. So only in those 4 situations, no offsides. Only in those.
Well, but then if you score a goal off offside, it'll be reviewed, and then
I'm pretty sure, yeah. So because that's a goal situation. So only in those 4 situations or instances will the video arbitru system come into play. So I want to know who they're going to blame then, and I think that. Go ahead, Steve.
How do they determine who?
Steve,
okay, a goal looks.
Serious incidents,
what they do,
such as goals.
But he's asking.
But here,
he's
how do
making
they
a
determine?
decision
Okay,
after they make the video.
If it's a doubt, if it's something that's in doubt,
they have two actual referees.
They're watching the game.
Steve,
This is
I'm
Portugal.
trying to explain, Steve. I'm trying to explain.
Bruno Carvalho will think a goal is almost offside, or the Sporting fans will think a goal is almost offside. But
it's got to be indisputable, okay, to overturn it or rule again, whatever. They have 2 referees, 2 former referees. I know it's 2 professional referees will be watching the video, so they both got to come to an agreement.
Yeah,
it's not like João e o Manel estão ali.
Okay.
Go ahead, Steve.
So they contest it. The 2 guys that are watching on the side. It's not let's say Rui Vitoria or a coach or somebody from one team contesting the decision. It's the referees watching the game. Thank you. That's what I was.
It's like the NFL and the NHL.
He doesn't watch the NFL.
I don't watch those sports, man.
I would have been done with my point if you didn't make that point. It's like the NHL and the NFL. Every touchdown and every goal in the NHL is reviewable. Doesn't matter. It could be the cleanest goal. There's nothing to question. They still check it. Thumbs up. Voila. That's it. They're always in the coaches. I mean, in the NFL, they have 2 challenges perhaps, but that's besides the point. But what happens is every single scoring play will be reviewed by the 2 referees and whomever the hell else is watching it. And if there is an infraction, if there is a dive, if there is a offside, whatever, they'll make the decision. And keep it moving.
Yeah, that's right. And this is something that's been tested by Portuguese referees, also the league and the FPF, and is also something that is going to be present officially in this Portuguese Cup that comes up this Sunday at the Jamor. Benfica will play Guimarães. We will now play Guimarães a 4th time.
I think the first game that it was the 3rd time. We beat them 3 times. That'll be
we beat them in a Taça da Liga. Yep.
Yeah, home and away. But I think that the video assistant referee, the VAR or whatever,
was already used last year.
I think the Super Taça. I think it was Benfica Braga. If I'm not, it was a Benfica
Portuguese
game.
Cup, maybe.
It was a Benfica game.
I'm not sure.
It was used. I think it was Benfica Braga last year.
But it's been tested.
Yeah, it's been tested.
Not official. I think this is the only time that's going to be official.
And every game's going to have 8 cameras, Steve. Every game's gonna have a little area designated with every single
little
angle.
Booth.
There is a little booth, and for the smaller stadiums that can't accommodate that, they'll have a bus or a van outside with all the equipment where the 2 refs will be sitting inside, and hopefully, if it's hot, they got AC and stuff.
That's right.
Like that.
So this Sunday, Portuguese Portuguese Cup final, Benfica will play Guimarães. I don't have that in front of me, but it's usually a daytime game if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
probably around 3 p.m. or so. Kickoff start. I didn't look that up. Cristiano is going to look that up real quick. Steve, let me ask you this question. 4th time that Benfica will play Guimarães. We have basically dominated them the past 3 times. Pedro Martins, after their last game at Estádio da Luz, where they got bombed 5-0, did say that this is not the Guimarães that we're used to. This is not our image, and you could bet your butt that we'll be ready to play.
It's an early game, 12:15.
12:15 on Sunday.
12:15 Eastern time.
Local. 12:15 our time?
PM Eastern. Yeah, our time.
Okay.
So 5:15 in Portugal.
5:15 in Portugal.
It's still slightly early.
Steve, what do you think? Matchup.
With a game that's a final like this, you can approach it in a much different way. The players will have a different mindset. To say that Benfica aren't favorites going in like they were for the other 3 is not true. Of course, they're favorites, but you can't hold too much weight because we played so well against them during the season, because this is a completely different game. I mean, the players at Guimarães will know that this is their chance to make history. They have one chance at it, 90 minutes to do the best that they can to secure a victory. It's not the same context when you're just fighting for 3 points. You're fighting for a trophy at the end of these 90 minutes, or maybe 120 plus penalty shots if it gets to that. But the context is very different than a regular league game, especially the one that just happened at Estádio da Luz. It's going to be a much different match, but the outcome could very well be the same. I mean, Benfica versus Vitória de Guimarães in terms of player quality is a mismatch, and if the players play to their ability, you could see another 5-0 game. So you got to take it for what it is, and it's a cup final, and we got to go out there to win it, and not really concern ourselves too much about what the other team is doing, but play to our strengths.
I agree with you, Steve, but I think in this game, Pedro Martins is not going to have the guys go face-to-face with Benfica and play an open style of soccer. You'll see him close it up. So, like you said, if they play face-to-face straight up, bums a lot through you, yeah, Benfica easily come away with it. But I think they're embarrassed from what just transpired at the Estádio da Luz just last week. And I think they'll have a point to prove. And on top of it, man, it's how many of these players, some of them will move on to bigger clubs, but majority of these guys will play at clubs just as big, if not smaller, than Vitória Guimarães. And how many opportunities will they have in their careers to win a title? And this is it. So, they're going to put it all on the line. I think Benfica still the better club. I think Benfica is is prepared for this. They haven't had a Dubadinha since God knows how long as well. So it's also something that Benfica players have motivation for. And some of the guys that are leaving, this is an opportunity to say goodbye to their fans, to the Benfica fans, with a nice victory. It's the last time they're going to put on that shirt. So it also means a lot to Benfica players as well.
Absolutely. I agree that Vitória de Guimarães will be playing with a chip on their shoulder with their hurt pride. They're going to come out. Benfica, they've been dominated, as I mentioned, in the past 3 games. They will come out to play. I don't think they will play, as you guys have mentioned. I agree. They won't play olhos nos olhos. They will play their style of play. And look, this is how they could get that humiliating defeat for 5-0.
And let's not forget their style of play.
They have a nice team.
Their style of play was a style of play that I believe they had won 7 or 8 in a row coming into the Estádio da Luz. Okay, they had the 3rd best road record behind Benfica and Porto. So this is a team that could play. This is a team that I think they have confidence in their abilities and what they could do. Pedro Martins gets his teams at least well organized. And again, it's an opportunity for these guys to prove to the world that we're going to win a cup. It's an opportunity for them to show themselves to Porto, Benfica, Sporting, and other clubs that, look, man, you could count on me. You could take a chance on me. So there'll be a lot on the line here, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into the questions. As I mentioned, if you want to get at us, #Benfica Podcast. We'll promise to answer all of them. Even Niels, if he's around. Hugo Tapado's got the first one. At H Tapado, Mr. Perstelnata himself. Why would we not try and sell Talisca instead of another loan? Hugo, I think that the loan contract at an option for another year. I think that Benfica are not going to let Talisca go that easily. I don't know what they're asking for. Do you know what the price is, Cristiano?
They want at least 20-25 mil. But right now, Talisca's got no market. I mean, his value right now is as low as it's been since he's come to Benfica. So if you're going to sell a player, you want to sell it when his value is high rather than when it's low. And right now, it might be better to just bring him back and use him and show him to the masses because you might get bigger money.
I'm happy right now if he never puts a Benfica shirt again. Benfica shirt on
I don't
again.
think he ever will, to be honest.
He won't.
After what's gone down this season, I don't see.
Yeah, neither him or Tarabt.
Nope.
Here's another one from Hugo Tapado. Is Umaro Balde the next Bruma?
I hope not.
Well, I mean, talent-wise or head-wise?
Bruma's been a bust. I mean, I know he played well this season. There's been a lot of
Bruma's a lot more talented than Romario Balde.
Yeah. We're Umaro Balde.
Umar, it's a young kid, Steve, 16 years old. Barcelona, Real Madrid.
There's a lot of Baldes.
Yeah. I've read about him, but I haven't seen him in it.
He's supposed to be Benfica's next prodigy.
Yes.
Hugo, we're very hesitant in hyping up young kids just because, when you hype up young kids, it never ends well. I hope that he continues to improve. I hope that he continues at Benfica.
Most important, I hope he stays at Benfica.
That's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing. Signs a professional contract. So,
Justino at Eliseo the Man. Any advice for someone who is new to doing podcasts like myself? How do you guys maintain creativity and quality?
Quality?
Cristiano says that he offers his consulting services for a small fee. Just hit him up on DM. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I actually heard a little bit of your podcast, and it's 2 Portuguese kids. Repetition, feeling comfortable, having a structure, not just banter. I think there's nothing wrong with banter, and the 3 Tugas guys they thrive off of that banter back and forth. But you got to have a little bit of a structure. You got to have intelligent talk. You got to be able to offer a good, entertaining product. And you just keep doing what you're doing, man. You guys are doing well.
Repetition.
Alexander Mello, Mr. Mello, as it's never too early to look ahead, what are some things to expect from Benfica this offseason? Long shot predictions. Steve, you want to...
Tough.
Go ahead, Steve.
Be prepared to lose up to 3 or 4 of the starting back line from this season. And if that's the case, well, if you lose Grimaldo, Ederson, Lindelof, and Semedo. That's
Ederson's
4.
back line. Okay, I'm thinking of defender.
Well, defensive line. Okay.
Okay.
If you lose all 4 of those guys, that's a major restructuring.
And PZ's gone.
Tá quieto, man. Deixa isso, pá.
PZ vai embora, pá.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
That's the huge thing, and I would like to believe that the club does not allow all of them to go.
Yeah.
Because that's huge.
Yeah, from what I know, that there's a certain amount of money that the club has to pocket every year,
sure.
or from player sales, and I think that once they hit that number, they will close up shop. But it's inevitable that I can't speak today. That some of those guys are going to go. I think that Semedo goes. I think that Lindelof goes. I think that Ederson. I think those 3 are definitely out. But I think that right now in the offseason, and this has been a long time coming, Benfica's already been working on identifying targets and guys that could step in and do well for those guys.
I think 2 are out for sure, because the money, the offers, the transfers are going to be too good to turn out. That's Ederson and Smith. And then I think Lindelof is the next guy in line, and then Grimaldo, and then PZ. I think PZ's got a shot to go. He's 28. He has a shot to go make some money. Benfica can make some money on a 28-year-old player as well. And Benfica's never been shy to turn down good deals for players. So
yeah.
Difficult sale for a guy that I think we paid 15 million for. I like him a lot, but I have a hard time seeing someone paying more than 15 for him.
For who?
Pizzi. Didn't we end up paying 15 to Atletico for it? But do you think they're going to go for 8 million?
I still think a player of his caliber would, especially after the season he turned out this past season, you're looking at 20, 25 mil with the George Mendes involved. Don't forget.
The rumor is Monaco.
George Mendes will get involved. And look, do I think he'll leave? No, but I think if there's an offer presented to him that's going to triple his salary, I mean, who wouldn't look at it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Here's another one for Mr. Alexander Mello. With rumors of almost 100 million for Ederson and Lindelof, think it is possible Semedo stays at Benfica. As we mentioned, Benfica has that figure in their head. So after they achieve that figure, they won't let anyone come in. Nevertheless, if there are offers that Benfica can't refuse, they're gonna let him go.
Semedo's in a conversation for the best right back in the world. He ain't staying.
Well,
how many you gonna put ahead of him? Daniel Alves? Go ahead, give me another one. I'll wait.
Carvajal's
not better than him.
Carvajal's pretty good, man.
I don't care. He's not better than him.
Até you guys do Canelas.
Esse aí.
Ninguém passa por ele, pá.
Dani Alves is the only guy, but he's 33. So, I mean, a lot of people today would take Semedo. Trust me.
Here's one from Jeff Terra-Salomão. Welcome. I've never seen you before, so welcome. Who would you like to see Benfica sign, and who would you like to see Benfica sell this summer? I wouldn't like Benfica selling anybody, to be honest. Well, there's a couple of guys that we can let go. No, that are currently at the team.
Currently at the team. I'm going to get killed for this, but I'd like to see Salvio.
I think if the right offer goes.
Mitroglou, Salvio, Jimenez, Amari.
Esses gajos todos, pá.
Oh, you asked me what I'd like to see. Vai lá, peace out.
Parece os Schalds essa merda,
Vai lá, logo, bora. Então.
To bring it's not so much a guy for me, a particular guy that I would love Benfica to see bring in. Is just there's certain holes in depth in the squad that I would like to see addressed. No, there's there's the PC position, for example, that's been thin all season long. I'd like Benfica address that with not a young kid, but a guy that has experience that could make it an instant difference.
I'll say this. I'll tell you who I wouldn't like Benfica to sign, and that's Seferovic. Supposedly he's on his way, and Spanjonic and Jovic are going back the other way or something like that. I mean, Spanjonic. Ai, Jesus. Seferovic.
Trocamos a Seferovic por esponja.
Por uma esponja.
Tá bonita a coisa. Here's one from Hugo Destapado. Aside from Carvalho and Calaisa, which B team players have legitimate shot at team, assuming only Ederson and Victor leave?
Pepe.
I think Pepe, I think that the one dude that you mentioned,
Yuri Ribeiro.
Carvalho, Yuri Ribeiro.
Yuri will be involved, but again, it depends. Pepe.
Depends
the
who-
only way Pepe gets involved is if somebody's Felipe Augusto, because there's no room for him right
Yeah.
now. And then you're gonna get João Carvalho, who's another guy that could kind of. I know he's not a 6, but he plays in the middle. Another guy that's going to be battling, and I think Horta is out because he's going to take the Horta role. I don't see Pepe. I mean, look, he might get a look one game or two, but I don't think.
I think he's going to come to camp with the main team, and he's going to travel around wherever the preseason is. It might be as far as he gets, but he's the type of player that for that position I really like. I'd like to see him do well. Again, like you say, might be a bit too early with the guys around, but I'd like to see. I mean, Fesa goes down and you're kind of stuck. You're stuck with Samaris, who I think is probably one of the guys that might go in the summer.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes as well, Steve. But I'm saying, as things currently stand, it's hard to see him cracking.
Yeah, for sure. With what's around now, but the off season brings so many stories and so many situations. So we'll have to see.
Here's Timo. With Lindelof's inevitable departure, what's everyone's thought on Kalaisa? He's still young, but he will be at camp. He's 18 years old, dude.
Super young.
I think he's 19 already.
He's just turned yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm just making
it. He seems a little soft for me. I don't know. I have to watch a little bit more. Nice touch on the ball. I don't know if he'd be jumping into Lindelof's shoes that quickly, but he'll be around.
He's still 18, but I'll tell you this much: you know what really did, what's left me decepcionado with him is I watched him play. This is a guy that was a part of the Benfica team in the summer, and is a guy that's much talked about for the future. And I watched him play with Benfica youth against a bunch of other 17 and 18-year-olds, and he struggled. He did not look like, and if he struggled at that level, I mean, I know he's young, it's going to take a little while, but I think we might be, we're too far ahead with him. I mean, he might be a guy for the future, but I think he needs time.
He needs time. Timo also asked, who is Benfica's MVP this season? We will address that next week. Here's one from Thiago Coimbra from Switzerland. Hello, boys. Thanks again for these moments. Any news from you on a show for an official SLB radio? We have not been contacted. Our agent has not received any offers, and if we did, we're not able to do it because Steve can't speak Portuguese.
Toma, I can speak Portuguese, just not well, and I would never do it publicly.
Espera. Benfica, if you're listening, dude, we got to do it in English. I mean, português já tens aí monte de gente. In English is where we fit in.
In English, we don't mind to be on at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning in Portugal.
We'll put a mask on Steve so he doesn't get nervous.
And we'll get Google Translate for Steve. I don't know.
It'll be in English. It'd have to be in English.
In English, I'm fine.
Yeah. Here's one from Kevin Mlior. Thank you guys for such a great job throughout the season. Many commutes well spent listening to you guys. Thanks Kevin. Here's one from your boy, PortugueseSoccer.com. Your thoughts on Samari's 4-match suspension? Why this ruling after the season ends? Seriously, doesn't this make the Liga look bad?
I'm going to tell you what I told a bunch of my friends earlier today, and I've had this argument over the last couple of months for anyone that's had anything remotely negative to say about this case. You must have not been paying attention over the last couple of seasons because it's always taken the Liga this long to do their investigation and suspend their players. Last year, it took them the same exact 6 months to suspend Slimani, but we heard peep.
Yeah, Slimani got 1 game for elbowing somebody's in the back of the head.
53 elbow. I mean, you could suspend that guy every single game, though, because he elbowed 3 or 4 people in every single game. But the point is that when they took the same 6 months, nobody said a word. Now, when they want to come out and talk about Samaris because they act like Benfica won the title because of Samaris. I mean, let's not forget the guy sat on the bench for like 10 games. All right. There was times Steve and I were sitting like, we hope he doesn't play this week because he'd been terrible at certain stretches throughout the season. But now it's this huge problem. Guys, it's very simple. Okay. For those of you at home to understand. When the referee gets in his report, just like Brahimi walking off, and he curses whether you believe he wished the guy a good, so you wish the fourth referee a safe trip home, or he cursed him off, right? Whichever end of the spectrum you're in. When the referee has that in a report, and the referee writes it down that he gave someone a yellow, a red, or whatever the case may be, the league has that in a report. Then the league makes a ruling on that report. When it's a process that's opened by Bruno Carvalho and other idiots, months later, the league has to investigate, because according to the referee's reports, there's nothing there. So they need to get all their ducks in a row in order to go ahead, watch video. And it's not a one-person thing. It's multiple people, and they need to get them all involved, and they need to get all on the same page. And then they go ahead and look, do I agree that it should be soon? That should be sooner and quick. 100%.
Yeah, and the EPL is just...
And it does make the league look like Mickey Mouse Club, but it's the way that the league is run. I don't like it, but it's the way that they process it. It's the way that they do their own thing. And it happened last year. We didn't hear people. Now, because of Benfiquista, everybody's up in arms because he was so important, and we won the Tetra because of him. Yeah,
I'd be more embarrassed if I was the league to issue those 37.50 fines. 37 euros and 50 cents, I meant. Sorry. Here's Mo's main storylines. 1 Tetra, 2 overcoming injuries, 2 playing versus Futebol Clube Porto and Sporting and not losing. Here's another one from Mo. Smith versus Pizzi. Who provides more of offense diversity? Dude, come on, man. That's 2 different positions.
Pizzi runs the show. Smithu is killer down there because for the defender.
Smithu is for 1v1 and being able to create mismatches on beating the 1v1, huge. But Pizzi's, like you say, he's more of the orchestrator. It's very hard to directly compare them in that sense. But for me, they both have a shout to be best player of the team for the season, or MVP, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Steve, here's one for you, and I know that you know this for a fact. If Bernardo gets transferred to Manchester United, rumored, do we get any of it?
I absolutely don't know it for a fact, but I think we get some.
I don't know. I'm assuming that there's something in the contract. Well, at least we get a formation, some kind of a formation percentage, right? I think that's like a law, actually. If you form the player,
but we remember
you could get a percentage.
Yeah, but he didn't leave on a free. We sold him for 15 mil. We already made a profit. That's the difference.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. But
I like to think if you sold him, and you still want to get paid later on for the formation, you sold him. Now, when he leaves and he becomes a star, another team sells him, then you get a cut. But when you already made a profit from him, you're not gonna make more.
I don't know how that works. Tony Lima. He's asking if we can make it 5 in a row. Sure, why not?
Hey, listen, let's not forget. I know some of you are going to be excited I mentioned this, right? But we were a Kelvin goal away from being, pentacampeões right now. Think about that. He doesn't score in the 92nd minute.
Well, that's
5 in a row. Well, what do you mean if? All you had to do was miss that. It's not if. I mean, you missed it. We won 5 in a row. We won the next 4, Steve. We won the next 4.
There was a rumor.
Everything happens for a reason, and everything is a consequence of things that happens before it. So who's to say that we would have won the 4 if we won that one? Yeah, you can't do that.
There was a rumor today that Roderick might be on his way back to Benfica.
He's on the national team pool of 30 for the Confederations Cup.
Yeah. Here's one from Código Novo 92. Do you think we'll hold on to both Jonas and Raul this summer? I know Jonas signed a new deal, but his words recently, and he puts the little emoji like this. I think
they both stay. Jimenez only goes to China or Russia or something like that. I don't think anyone else. I know this is going to sound rude, but I don't think anyone else is going to get fooled for more than 25 million for him. And Jonas, I honestly believe Jonas is actually really happy in Portugal and at Benfica.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think that if he gets an offer from China,
but he did supposedly already.
Yeah, but I think he's a year older. He's looking for that one last payday. Sorry, he still has ambitions to play for the national team. He said that not too long ago. And he's in China. He's not going to get called for the national team at his age. So maybe that's something that will keep him at Benfica. I think he's happy at Benfica. Jonas, estás contente no Benfica?
I think.
Missed it.
É isso aí, é isso aí, não vou falar não.
Quando
Não
jogar
vou
o
falar não.
jogo da taça,
Depois aí fala.
taça campeonato português, como você fala aí, cara, ó, taça Portugal. Depois vou ver. Não, but I think Jimenez, if Benfica gets a deal that they find attractive, I think he's gone. And Jonas, it's all about the offers, man. I don't think Benfica. I think he's been a good servant to the club, and I think Benfica's been good for him. And I think that they're in a mutual agreement. If he gets an offer that he can't turn down, like a double, triple, quadruple his salary, I think he's going to tell Benfica, I appreciate everything you've done for me. I've done all I could do here, and I'm going to go on my last payday. Unless Benfica then steps up and decides to pay a 33-year-old and double his salary, which I doubt. I mean, we've only seen that really with one player, which was which was Luizão. Year after year, we kept talking about if he gets an opportunity to go make more money. But if he kept giving him, some type of wage hike and kept him happy, I think Jonas will just be at the point, look, man, I did what I had to do on my road ends here.
Yeah. Here's another one from Código Novo 92. Does Gilberto Pereira come back to Benfica and get to play with a squad? He has done well here in England this season. From what we understand, and we have this from inside sources that we can neither confirm nor deny, his personality isn't the best. He's a little bit of a hothead, and it might not be all that great for the team. But hey, he's doing well, and we wish him well.
Who needs Gilberto when you have Madonna's son with the U12s? You're good.
Like a virgin. Ooh. All right, let's get to the mentions here. There were some of you guys that hit us up on the mentions. You didn't bother to tag Benfica Podcast, so now I got to go through all my mentions. Mariana says, I knew Steve Santos was going to say you wanted Salvio to go. Damn, Steve, people know you.
I'm quite predictable.
Shout out to Mariana, who's watching us all the way from the UK.
She's
up
sleeping.
At this hour. Here's one from Kevin Millar. The rumored Joel Pereira to Benfica made me nervous when I saw him play in this last match, in this last Man U game. Very poor in clearance and distribution.
He's 18, making his debut, or whatever, 18, 19, whatever he is, making his debut at Manchester United. I mean, look, whether you like it or not, I still stand by what I said. I think Moreira or Pereira, one of them will be at Benfica by the end of August, if not earlier.
Yeah, here's one from Tiago Coimbra. What's your dream game for the team presentation at the end of the summer? I think they did away with those team presentations.
They're
now
going,
it's
Eusebio,
no?
and they want Chapecoense.
Chapecoense is yet to confirm.
They might be busy.
Is yet to confirm because they got a very busy schedule. They were just eliminated from the Copa Libertadores because they used a player that they couldn't use.
Yeah, I read that.
But all I know is I don't want no Argentinian team, no Uruguayo team, because aquilo é só a matralhada ali, man. Em agosto também. Peñarol, Rio. They're great teams, but aquilo é só a safada. Sabes como é que é?
Yeah. I'm trying to find any more here. I think I have all of them. I think I covered everything. Let me go back here to the hashtag, see if Mo only had 2 questions. Holy cow, Mo. What are you doing? The dishes? Can't type? Anyway, so that's all for us for this podcast number 244. Alfredo, Cristiano, and Steve here with you, bringing you the latest on Benfica every Tuesday night here live on YouTube. And also, you could subscribe to us on iTunes and use us for your commute to distract you during your commute. Thank you very much for all the support. We feel very humbled by everyone's support and everybody's encouraging words. And like I mentioned, it's been a very exhausting season for me, at least. I know Cristiano is ready to do a pod all the way to next season. But anyway, we will have one more podcast next season, recapping the Portuguese Cup final and also some end of the season type of conversation, awards. We will give you our MVPs, some of the guys that did well and some of the guys that didn't do so well. So we will be back next week with some of that. Get your questions ready. Don't forget the hashtag, and tell your friends. Tell your friends about us. Now that we're going on vacation.
Come back in July or August.
Yes. So I will talk a little bit more about when we'll be returning, but around the 4th of July or so. I think that's when the team gets back. Gets the 4th or 5th, I don't know. When the team gets back to training. The team has already announced some preseason fixtures, some preseason trips to both England and I want to say Switzerland.
Switzerland's definitely
one. Switzerland. So
I don't know the England one.
Our friend Thiago Coimbra, get those beds ready. We'll be there. Nah, just kidding. PlanetBenfica.co.uk is where you can find our friends, João Emanuel and David Pritchett. Who else do we need to shout out, Cristiano? The two Portuguese kids podcasts. Check those guys out. Three Tugas, Portuguese footy. Our friend Kevin. Conversas da Benfica. Don't forget to check those guys out. And that's it. That's all we got. Cristiano, you want to send a shout out to your homeboy?
Have a good one, everybody. Catch you next week.
See you, everybody. Thanks for checking us out. Don't forget to subscribe at Benfica Podcast, at Tencio10, at Steve Cento 6 is where you can find us on Twitter, BenficaPodcast.com, Benfica Podcast on Facebook. I think that's it. See ya. Laters.